Okay, this week we are wrapping up our Christopher Nolan series with Tenet, a film that bends the mind and the laws of physics and time travel, and to me, one of the more unique time travel films. And time.
It's all good and well, Hunter.
Yes.
But I do have a question for you.
What's that?
But is Tenet good?
Time will tell.
But is it good podcast? Yeah.
Morning.
Good.
Welcome to
We're done.
welcome to this
End recording.
this week's couples therapy with Zach and Hunter.
Oh, goodness.
Welcome to the But Is It Good podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I am your co-host, Hunter Callahan.
And I am your lead host,
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Zach Olson.
Zach, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing well.
Are you good?
I am dressed to go to a pool party,
I can see that.
and I don't think I'll be able to go.
Oh, no. Why?
Well, because part of it is my fault because
That
I
is
got a
true.
late start. But when I did start, I went to the place where we normally record,
Mhm.
and all I found was Terry sitting in the backyard. That's all I found there. There was no microphones, no Hunter, nothing. It turns out that we were recording in a different location because, quote, Hollis's birthday,
Yes.
which is very specific. And
Yes.
so anyways, I'm here now.
In my defense, I mentioned it in passing.
When we were
a-
drinking.
On a difference, the subject matter was Hollis's birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, yeah, I'll be down there. So
Right.
this is good communication.
This
I
is-
apologize,
It's fine.
and I'll be more direct next
It's
time.
fine. I just remember
You bitch.
where his party was last year.
Yeah, we didn't want to do it this time. It's a loud chair.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Otherwise, it's been a good weekend.
Mm-hmm. It has been a good weekend. We
Tore up the town, man.
tore up the town.
Yeah.
If you go to Atlanta, we're sorry.
It's just
It's
demolished.
torn up. It's one big ass crater.
Oh man, yeah, we had a good. As of the release of this episode, it is my birthday, so both your co-hosts are old men now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have broken the barrier of the 30s.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to say this so that it gets broadcast in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Happy official birthday!
Oh,
Because when this is posted, it
Yeah.
will be
my birthday.
your birthday.
Yes, and we'll both be old. But yeah, it's been a good weekend. But ready to dive in. We're both very tired, but that should be fun, right?
That's life.
Let's do it.
I've
we're
gotten.
doing
I think
Tenet.
I've gotten like 7 hours of sleep over the past
I'm right
2
there.
days.
Yep. Went to bed at 3 on Friday, got up at 7 on Saturday, and then went to bed at 1:30 last night, and then got up at 6:30 this morning. So I'm at 8 hours actually.
Oh wow.
You know, so I'm
Cool.
I'm fresh. Here we go. We're doing Tenet. Chris Nolan's most recent film, actually. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Dunkirk was like 2018, right?
This is the prequel to Oppenheimer.
The prequel. He's mentioned.
He is. Yeah.
Also, I need to shout out to Ethan. He left a comment on our Instagram when I announced the schedule for June. And he said, I ordered my hot sauce like an hour ago, and I didn't get it
I was like, it's got to be a quote from the movie.
until I watched. I was like, oh, so Ethan, now I get it. I totally did not realize that was from.
We had an entire conversation where he was
Yeah.
like, I don't know why he posted
I
that.
don't know what he means. What does he mean?
I was like, it's got to be a quote from one of the movies
Yeah.
that we're reviewing.
But
Or
he,
he, you know,
or I just
thought he was on like a customer support line. And
like he actually ordered hot sauce an hour ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real quick before we jump in, please like and subscribe and share and all that kind of stuff. You know how it is. You know the drill. Got a big month coming up in June, and then an even bigger month, I think, in July. I think I'm more excited for July after talking about it with you.
July is a big month.
July, I'm hyper July. Let me know if you get those tickets to IMAX. How much I owe you for that?
$27.72.
Sweet.
You can Venmo me at
Yes. Anybody, please. Anybody who Venmos Zach that amount of money can come to the movie.
You can come to the IMAX.
We'll figure out how to get you in.
Mall of Georgia IMAX, July 22nd.
Yes, Saturday night.
11.
Oh shit.
10 p.m.
Oh god.
It's gonna be an experience.
Oh, I gotta drive.
It was a showing that had a
too.
lot of available seats, and there's a big group, so that was the one that we went with.
All right.
But you want to know something funny? Somebody bought front row middle at the big ass IMAX screen for Oppenheimer.
Is that bad?
Think about how close you
like,
are.
Like front row?
Yeah. No, when I say front row, I mean actually seven rows back.
I've never seen an IMAX theater.
We went to. Did you not come to Desolation of Smog with us?
No.
Or maybe it was the first Hobbit. We had
I've seen the Extreme Theater.
High school.
NCG.
We had a whole high school group go to. I think it was the Mall of Georgia IMAX to see one of the Hobbit movies.
Wasn't me.
It is, and I've been other times, but I just thought that you were there for that one.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. You walk in and have you ever been to like the at the aquarium, like the big fucking screen?
Yeah.
It's bigger than that.
I want it to be
loud.
the biggest screen I've ever seen in my life.
It's gonna be the biggest screen you've ever seen in your life.
Awesome.
Is
it bigger than like Drew Sparks' screen?
It's intimidating. Like front row in the middle, if you're just looking, it's your entire field of vision, including like if you turn your like if you look to the left and right, it's going to be your entire field of vision. It's just going to be
so it's 3 hours,
atomic
right?
bombs.
So it's like going to be like over at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it'll be over at 2
I
a.m.
might just stay awake. I got to play at church the next day.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, we're doing Tenet. You can start. How many times have you seen this movie, Zach?
I've seen this movie twice.
Same. Okay. How was your rewatch? Spoiler free.
So I'll be honest. The first time I saw it, I didn't get to go. Well, I guess was it in theaters or was it a casualty of the COVID times?
I can't remember.
Like were theaters still closed when this released?
I feel like no, because it made a little bit at the box office.
Okay.
So I think it was like a super limited.
Okay.
Might have been one. I know what it was. They did like the 30-day theater release and then to HBO because that's why Christopher Nolan left.
Right,
Warner.
you're so
now he's
right.
with Universal.
You're so
I
right.
think.
So it was only in theaters for 30 days. I didn't get to see it in theaters. The first time I watched it at my brother's house, and the kids were sleeping upstairs. So and they don't like subtitles. So
good luck.
And there's such a wide breadth of like volume in this movie that to keep the volume low enough, there were entire parts of the movie where I couldn't hear the dialogue. Yeah. The second time was much better. Mm-hmm. It's good.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Knowing where the plot goes, it's really interesting to watch it again and see how things develop and how certain characters react in certain situations and looks on people's faces when they rip masks off of other people and you don't see who that person is and like blah, 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 blah. I think that this is the movie that made me say like, oh, Robert Pattinson's not just that guy from Twilight.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he's been in other things before this. Like he was in The Lighthouse before this, right?
And then like, have you seen Good Time?
I haven't seen Good Time.
I heard that's amazing.
But this was the first film that I personally had seen with him that I was like, oh shit, this is good. And his character is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, I could go on and on, but I'm excited to talk about it. There's a lot to talk about, and we'll see where it goes.
I will have to agree with pretty much everything you said. My first time seeing this movie was with the whole fam, my in-laws, and everyone was just loud.
It's the worst. And like, there's certain movies where you have a tolerance for it, but if it's Christopher Nolan, shut the fuck up. Yeah,
but it's not even that. It's that they were like on their phones and then would be like, "What's happening?" And I was like, "I can't." It's just like when Hannah was, and this is not a bash on Hannah. She was doing something, and then Can
I
she
don't,
hear
I
me?
don't think she can hear us.
Well, no.
But right
this,
when you said that, she looked at me.
this actually isn't like a bash, but like she was doing something when I was watching Interstellar,
Mm-hmm.
and then like she finished and was like sat down. I was like, hey, she was like, what's happening? And I was like, I can't
Yeah.
like explain this.
Right.
So when I first watched Tenet, everyone was just like, what? And I was like, listen, stop. So it was a very disruptive first watch. Second watch was better, not perfect, because I had to watch it in 2 sittings because I
Sure.
felt I was going to fall asleep because it was like 1 a.m. I was watching it, and it's not exactly a short movie. But knowing kind of where it's going, like you said, you can see so much more, and it's just amazing. There's some things that like my brain, it's hard to like be like, how is this working?
Sure.
So I have questions. It's not like it's not airtight to me in some instances, but it almost doesn't matter. Does that make sense?
We'll see if it's airtight or not when we get there. Because I think it's airtight.
I think the logic is airtight. To me, like the mechanics of it, I'm like, but also I'm like, does that really matter? You know what I mean?
We'll see if it's airtight when we
We'll
get
see.
to it.
Okay.
Because I think it is airtight.
Okay. We'll
That
find
could
out.
have been the same audio clip. I said it with the same inflection and everything.
You know what I
We'll
want to
see
do?
if it's airtight when we get there. Because I think it is airtight.
I want to actually. Let's invert this somehow. Your idea. I'm serious. I want to do it.
Okay.
We're gonna do it. I got to Google it. You just said that like 3 times, made me think, oh, you could be traveling through the past.
Well,
I'm going off the rails.
you're not traveling through the past in
I
this
know.
movie.
It's like, it's just
You're
you.
living.
It's just you, right?
Yeah. But there could be instances where there's 3 of me.
Yes. Like at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I loved this. I really love this movie. Even if we discover that it's not airtight, which you think it is airtight.
We'll see if it's airtight when we get there. Because I think it is airtight.
Okay, nice. Is this more ambitious than Interstellar? Maybe. Cognitively, I
Is
think.
that a question? This is way...
I think mentally it is. I think the scope of Interstellar is bigger. Obviously,
Well,
going to a
you're in the
black hole.
universe.
Yeah,
Like you're... Yeah.
but yeah, this is the one that like Chris Nolan Nolaned himself. But I loved it.
We'll see if Chris Nolan out-Nolan himself when we get there.
What do you think?
Because I think maybe he did.
He did in a good way. I'm gonna give you my phone now because I'm gonna do a movie in
cool.
a minute, and you get to be cameraman.
Okay.
I gave Zach free reign to do whatever he wants with the camera while I'm doing movie in a minute. Let me pull up a timer. Sorry, that was my email. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you getting a phone call?
I am, but I'm going to let it go to voicemail. And then if it's important, I'll take the call live.
Okay,
And we'll
sweet.
just see
Amazing.
what they need.
Amazing. Are you ready to film?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this is
So whatever I record, you're going to post on
yeah,
social
but
media?
it can't break Instagram's guidelines.
Okay.
I don't think that you would, but I don't know what you're gonna do.
You don't know what I'm going to do.
I feel like I need to like. Do I look okay? What do you?
Yeah, you look fine.
All
For
right.
for the purpose of this recording,
Oh no.
you
Okay.
look fine.
This is Tenet, movie in a minute in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we start out in Kiev on the 14th at an opera house. There's some crazy siege going on. We have the protagonist. He doesn't have a name. He's doing this thing. They do some mission. He gets captured. He gets killed. He bites a cyanide capsule. It's a trick. He gets brought into this secret group called Tenet. Goes on this mission to find some crazy time travel stuff. He goes and finds, I don't know his name, but this arms dealer, it's Kenneth Branagh or whatever. Anyway, stuff happens. He's trying to put together this algorithm to end the world. He's fighting people who are in reverse. Then he gets in reverse, and we see the whole movie backwards, and he goes back in time to this crazy big battle where half of them going forward, half of them going backwards, with this guy Neil, who's known him for years but doesn't know because he's from the future. And then Neil sacrifices himself so they can stop the algorithm, and they save the world. And he actually starts Tenet in the future. Wow,
Oh wow,
amazing!
that was a little less than a minute.
That was awful.
That was good. That was good.
Thank you. What did you do? Did you just film yourself?
Yeah, the whole time. It was just my face.
I love it.
I did get a voicemail. Let me just listen to it real quick.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm applying for an apartment.
I'm going to keep recording.
Oh, I just need to upload some more documents, and I already uploaded some.
Unbelievable.
I'm so mad. I'm not. Okay, we can. So, did we say spoilers? Because we got them out.
Did I really spoiler anything? I just spoke very vaguely.
That's true.
Anyway, spoilers for a 3-year-old movie. Ready?
Heck, yeah.
We were together when it was the last time we saw a movie in theaters before COVID hit.
That was Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey,
Mm-hmm.
and they played the first scene, I think,
Yeah.
of Tenet. They played the opera scene, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it was sick.
It was sick.
It's a great scene. So how do you want to approach this? Because I've seen breakdowns of like the timelines, and it's too confusing, but...
Well, it's not that confusing if we follow the timeline of the movie, which is the timeline of the protagonist.
That is true.
Like, that's his experience.
His perception of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's real time. Like we follow him learning of Tenet.
Yeah. So the protagonist, who is not named,
Nope.
and he calls him, he says, "I'm the protagonist,"
Yeah.
like 3 times, which is like pretty meta.
Art. Yeah.
He is a part of this task force, and they're going in. I guess there's like a terrorist attack happening, but he knows that the terrorist attack is happening, or like his team does, and they're sent in to get what they assume is like nuclear material.
Yeah.
Before the terrorists do, and to get it out. Yeah. So they go.
Yeah.
They have they're waiting there. I think it's a nice touch that they had the different patches to see like
I didn't notice that
who's gonna respond. Even though I think that they would know who was going to respond, but whatever.
Interesting.
So they go in and they do their thing, and there's all the like dusk at twilight.
We
fire.
live in the Twilight world. So who is that guy? Because they went in to get him out. Is that what it was? And receive a, because because
they didn't go just to get him out.
Because that guy, they asked him, "Where's the package?"
So let's get a couple things out there from the outset, because I think. Well, let me get one thing out there at the outset, because I think it's important. The protagonist is on a mission that is given to him by some authority. Like I don't know if he's part of like some sort of like Interpol or like the CIA or something, right? However, he has his own moral compass that is almost like a bonus mission.
Yeah.
So I don't think their goal was to get that guy out. I think their goal was to find the thing and get that out, and whoever dies, dies.
Yeah.
So he just said, "I've got 2 minutes."
Yeah, because there actually is a part later in the scene when he realizes that they're setting bombs or whatever.
Right.
And the guy's like, "They're setting bombs, they're going to blow the whole thing." And the guy goes, "Not our mission." And he goes, "It's mine.
It's mine now."
Yeah, it's mine now. That's a good point. Which that comes back into play when it comes back into, what is her name? What's the girl's name? I don't remember anything. What's her name? Kat. How like saving her becomes this whole mission.
Right.
Right.
So he's not a James Bond.
He's not a James Bond.
Because James Bond would let Kat die.
Yeah. James Bond would probably kill her himself.
Oh God.
Actually, it makes you think of Skyfall when the guy, what's his name, he's like trying to shoot the whiskey off her head, and he just like shoots her.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even like react. He's just like, it's a waste of good scotch. And he's like, pow, 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 pow.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, this scene's great. And what's interesting is that there's a lot of questions, but I feel like there's a lot of comments in the movie about that's on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. I like this movie kind of treats you in the sense of like, you'll know what you need to know.
Well, because we're following the protagonist.
Who doesn't know.
Right, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's going on, who's who, and we learn things when he learns things.
Yeah. What'd you think of his performance?
Who's he?
John David Washington.
John David Washington did an amazing job. He had a nice mix of just like seriousness, but also like he was charismatic at parts. Like I really like the part, jumping ahead, where he drops off Kat on the boat, and as he's going back, he's like smiling and pointing at the guy.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's like the dinner where he's kind of quick-witted. And there's even like later when he's like, I think it's when, what's his name? Sador. When Sador's like on the blue side and the protagonist is on the red side, and he's like, "I'll shoot you," and he's like, "What? No balls in my throat this time?"
Right.
But I love how I liked the through line casting that Nolan does sometimes. Like we had Bale, and Michael Caine in Tenet, but also Dark Knight, that kind of stuff. And then Interstellar, Michael Caine plays a bigger role. But I like that this is mostly a new group.
Yeah.
Besides Michael Caine, like has a little cameo. I know that Kenneth Branagh was in Dunkirk as well, but
right.
I really liked this core group. Pattinson's great. Elizabeth Debicki, I believe is her name. Anyway, sorry, I went on a little tangent there. But then he gets captured and he dies. He kills himself.
Or so we think.
So we think.
He gets his cyanide pill taken out of his coat. But the other guy is holding one in his hand. Wait, what do you...
Well, I'm thinking, so did he take the other guy's pill?
Right, so the other guy was like dying. I guess he had gotten all his teeth pulled out and he was just like bleeding out or something. But he was holding his cyanide pill in his hand, which was tied behind his back. And the protagonist saw it and kicked his chair forward and grabbed it.
Do you think the guy was offering it to him?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I would think so.
My question is then, did the pill, it was fake, it put him in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy, would he have survived, I guess, if he took it?
Not if he was bleeding out. Like if there's another cause of death, like if you get shot in the head but you take a fake suicide pill, you're not going to live.
That's a good point. You sure? Anyway, yeah, so he wakes up and we see the guy, he explains the Tenet thing.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that we go all the way back to that moment. Don't we? On that ship? No, it's not that far.
Well, hold on.
I think we see the ship going backwards, don't we?
We see the ship going backwards, and we see him doing pull-ups on his way to the ocean fans. So maybe we do go back all the way back.
That's fascinating. I know I'm kind of breaking the rule, not the rule, but like I'm not going linear.
Do it.
But for some reason, when I first watched it, probably because I was distracted, I didn't realize that when they invert, right? They don't just go back to a moment.
Right.
They live time backwards.
Backwards from that point.
So like there was a line that Ives says where he's like, we're making our way back to the 14th. And I was like, oh, they had to stay there for 10 days.
Right.
In the past, like going backwards. That to me for some reason was like, so can you pick a time to go back to?
No, because you. What do you mean?
So it's not like you have a time machine.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have a time machine.
It's time travel, yes, but it's not like.
They even say that because the protagonist says what, like time travel, and then Neil, is that right?
Yeah, Neil
says not exactly. It's time moving backwards.
The only thing that I can think of that is time travel-esque is how Sador gets the inverted, or was getting the inverted.
Right, but even then, all he was doing was burying something in a spot, and then having them invert it and bury it in the exact same spot. Yeah. So to him, it was instantaneous that the other item was appearing there, which is crazy to think about.
Yes,
but that's essentially what he was doing.
Yeah, and it's just, but I'm saying in the sense that the folks from the future had the ability to pick that time. No.
Well, they don't have to pick a time. Right? They don't have to.
Why?
So they're digging a hole they're digging up the items,
Yes.
they're inverting them, burying them in the exact same spot, and then from that moment, those items are moving backwards temporally. So then,
That's what blows my mind.
Sator digs them up. So to him, it's instantaneous. Now you could ask a question like, okay, so if there were items there that were moving forward temporally, and there were items in the exact same spot that are moving backwards temporally, how would that work spatially? But I don't, right? Because then at a certain point in time, both of those items would have been in the exact same place.
Yes. So that's what I think just like blew my mind, was where it's like, okay, yeah, it's not like the folks from the future are inverting these weapons and then saying, okay, we're going to put him back the second he puts it in there or whatever.
Right.
It's literally that they put it in there. And so, yeah, theoretically, those items sit there for hundreds of years backwards.
Right, which is why there was a conversation between Neil and the protagonist where they're saying it's crazy. There's no degradation. There's no moss on them. Like, how are they doing this? But it was somehow they were preserving them perfectly so that it was feasible.
That's nuts. So that's the parts where it like hurts my brain. And sorry, but this is like when you talk about Tenet, this is what you want to talk about too.
Yeah.
And it's not real, I guess, but it's the physics of it where it's like, do you want a table?
No,
Sorry.
I'm good.
The idea of like, so when he gets inverted for the first time
Mm-hmm.
and he's like walking, and he like steps in the puddle in reverse.
Right.
That's how the world perceives?
No, that's how he's perceiving the world.
So it's just like, do you think, this is a silly question, I'm not sure, but do you think to him, he's just like, I'm just trying to run and it just comes out backwards? Or do you think he has to like know he's running backwards?
No, he's moving forwards.
Yes, but he, like when he steps in that puddle, it looks like he's stepping out of it in reverse.
Right. It's intuition is what he said. Remember when he learns how to catch catch the bullets? It's just like intuition. You just get a feel for it. Has to have been dropped to catch it, so he has to act like he's dropping it, and then it goes up into his hand.
That's crazy, man.
And he's a very quick learner.
Yeah, because he drives a car. I think that those are the things where I'm just like, oh man, it's just crazy to me. Like, because there are times when it looks like when Sator's inverted, where it looks like he's moving just normally in the inverted space. He's inverted. But I guess to him it would be, I suppose, if he's trying to go forward. Does that make sense?
Right. So he does have to interact with the world in a very particular way. So when he is driving the car,
yeah,
he would have to have the car in reverse, right? And
yes.
And technically, once he's like up to,
I don't know. Yeah,
he'd have to because think about when we're moving forward, the car is driving backwards essentially. And if you think about it, when he's at full speed, so he's like chasing them, in order to accelerate spatially, he wouldn't need to accelerate the car, he would need to brake so that his car moves forward, but in reality the car is slowing down and moving backwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because when he gets blown up, he almost freezes to death.
Right. That not really, I mean, it is related to what I'm saying, but
yeah, but in the sense of like you have to think of the opposite
right
thing.
Right.
Because what does an inverted object or whatever do in space time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I guess in theory, why getting shot with an inverted bullet is so deadly.
Sure.
Because of how it. Wow.
Yeah, because you're basically having all this shrapnel come together inside your body.
Yeah.
Right?
So would the shrapnel already be there?
Well, let's talk about that because at one point his arm is injured.
Yes.
Was he injured yet? Like, I don't remember him getting shot.
No. I remember when this happened. So on the second watch, first watch, you don't know who it is, but second watch, you know that the guy he fights in the airport
is him.
The guy going in reverse, which is such a cool fight scene, like both ways.
Although I will say, after being spoiled with the John Wick movies, And it would be hard to do choreography for a fight where someone is literally moving backwards in time.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of like close up, shaky,
especially the second time through.
This is a struggle.
Yes.
You know?
Especially the second time through.
Yeah.
I noticed that big time. Second time through wasn't nearly as like
clean,
crisp.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to your point, somebody had to learn those moves backwards.
Right.
To like shoot it. But knowing that that's him, he gets stabbed.
In the fight with himself?
So
he's bleeding.
Going through the first time, Protagonist stabs the masked guy.
Yeah.
And then as they get closer to that moment, his arm starts to hurt. And then when they get to the day, he's like bleeding, right?
Right. Yeah, he's bleeding and he's like, let me take a look at that. And then they have to go. He gets like sucked into the gate rather than blown out. Yeah.
That's that whole sequence.
I guess he gets blown into the gate because thing explodes and it does propel him forward. But to them at the moment, it looked like he was getting sucked out.
Man, that's awesome. This is so cool. Sorry. That whole sequence where we finally see things like overlap.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not the first time because we have the whole car chase. And
you recognize that there are, at a certain point, 3 of him at the same time.
Yes.
Because he is fighting himself to get... Well, I guess maybe there were 2 at max.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying because Ives says, don't ever go into the turnstile unless you see yourself on the other side.
Right.
So he's fighting himself where he shoots to the side of his head to
Mm-hmm.
not shoot himself in the head, I guess. And then he sees himself leave the turnstile and run past Neil.
So then So there's 3 of them at that moment.
Yeah, there's 3.
And then he goes in, and then Neil pulls off the mask, sees that it's him, and Neil knows all along because they have a long storied history. That, do you know what I love about Christopher Nolan?
Everything.
But this is something that I think is very underappreciated, but I just think it adds so much value to the art that he does create, and it's the art that he doesn't create.
Yeah.
So like, this is a fascinating film, and you could make shows and more movies, and like just off of this one idea of like their friendship or like how they met or like blah 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 blah. You could have like the future people. He doesn't do that. It's all just like, it's the story is told, and you know that they have like a long relationship before this movie takes place, and we know that something happens in the future to where they want to like reverse everything. But he's not gonna do that.
Yeah, and we don't need to see it.
No, we don't need to. It would devalue what we do see.
The industry at large should take a note of that. But we'll get back to that because the ending is very, very powerful. But I loved that scene because like the second airport scene, because we see Neil has Kat on the stretcher. He's trying to get inside.
Yeah.
And
which is crazy if you think about it, because they had a very, very refined way of getting through the areas where you couldn't breathe and then getting into the center of the Pentagon. But Kat and Neil get in there without seeing other Neil.
Yeah.
Or first protagonist.
Yes. Yeah.
early protagonist.
Yes. OG protagonist.
Yeah. So think about that. They had to go like a different way. I guess the oxygen wouldn't have been an issue because they already have
their
masks
own
on.
Yeah. But there's the crazy like concept of like he goes in backwards and comes out going forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says like go, but he's going now to Neil, he's going backwards.
Yeah.
Right? Because protagonist goes in inverted, goes in the turnstile, runs past Neil. That's when Neil sees he takes off his mask and stuff.
Right.
And then he runs past inverted Neil, tells him to go in, but now to Neil, the protagonist is going backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
hold on. Can we say that again?
Yes. So Neil, Kat, inverted protagonist.
Okay.
Go in.
Inverted Neil, inverted cat, inverted
Yes,
protagonist.
Inverted protagonist goes in,
Mhm.
has the fight with himself, goes through the turnstile, runs past Neil. They're both now going forward. Neil sees that it's protagonist, lets him go, which is another crazy concept. I guess because they're all the same place, same time. Neil sees that it's protagonist, throws him back his mask because he knows he has to breathe.
Yeah.
Runs down the hall to old protagonist fighting inverted protagonist and stops him. Anyway,
Let's older protagonist get inverted protagonist. Yes. Get sucked out and then get in the shipping container in which he's going to be waiting until he gets to the other Freeport where he goes in the machine after finding Cat and then comes out and then has the conversation with Kenneth Branagh where he's like, no, don't shoot. I'll tell you. It's in the BMW. Insane.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that all while this is happening, inverted Neil and inverted Cat are still outside.
Right.
And so after forward Neil lets now forward protagonist go, protagonist runs out of the building.
Right.
And just says go. But now to inverted Neil, he's going backwards because inverted Neil's going backwards through time.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to get the ambulance. And that's just like,
yeah. So
what's crazy is that this movie, I love it. Sorry, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I love that it actually only takes place over the course of like maybe a week or so.
Right.
But it's because we go all the way to the end.
Longer than that. Because at one point they have to be in the shipping container for 10 days.
You're right.
And they have to travel a lot.
But
we don't know how long he was waiting in the turnstile
Let's say
thing.
like a month or two.
Because he was like doing. Why would you? Sorry, I'm derailing this entire point that you were trying to make.
I had this thought actually. I think.
Why would he go like 3/4 of the way up the ladder and then start doing pull-ups?
To make it riskier? I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Maybe makes him work harder.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was like really high up.
Yeah.
It's like what if you
just
slip?
Well,
not just slip, but like you do enough pull-ups to where you're like, okay, my arms are fatigued.
Yeah.
I guess you do have legs, but
it's the danger, man.
It's the danger.
It's the danger. But I was gonna say, I love that this movie is actually contained within like a finite period of time. That's actually not as long as you think it is. But it's only because we start at the beginning, go all the way to the end, and then go all the way back to the beginning,
and then come meet in the middle.
And I love.
Well, actually, we're
like farther back.
We're in the past at the end.
Because I love this, and then I'll shut up. But like Michael Caine's scene, he tells us the end. He's like, if there was a bomb that went off in Stalsk 12,
right
on the 14th. So and that's where the movie ends.
Yeah, it's
that's amazing.
It's so crisp.
And the first time watching it through, I was like, oh, that opera siege was just like a mission that he was on. No, that was Sator.
Right. That was Sator trying to get the thing.
That's when
the task force that he was working for was almost definitely himself, like employing him.
Yeah.
To send him there to do that. But not giving
him Tenet, I guess.
Yeah, but not giving him too much information because it's need to know and you don't.
That's amazing.
You know?
That's amazing. How do you think of this stuff?
You have to have a fascinating mind.
I just love movies like this.
And you have to be obsessed with this kind of stuff. And Christopher Nolan's made like 9 movies about time.
Yeah.
Maybe not 9.
But I love that. I remember like when I first watched it, and even still, I was like distracted and was like kind of hanging in there. But when I realized that he was fighting himself, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go on. Your turn.
It's really cool watching it the second time because when they're in the opera, you see Neil's little backpack charm.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it's Neil.
It's Neil.
It's Neil. Neil showed up there because, which is crazy to think about because Neil wouldn't have known. It's not like they had a conversation. He was like, yeah, this inverted guy almost shot me, but he shot somebody else. I mean, at least not on screen for us. So Neil would have somehow known that he needed his help at that point in time. But I guess if they have this long history, like
He might
friendship,
have told him at some point.
right, and given him like missions and been like, all right, you're my guardian angel. This is all the places you need to go.
Which
when
that's what he becomes for Kat at the end.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sorry, I know we're no longer going on.
But would if he goes through, would the phone would have to be not inverted.
Yes.
So he would have to invert himself to go back, but the phone would have to stay moving forward so that every time she got a call or she called, it was going there. Otherwise, if the phone got inverted, I don't think calls would go through to it because all the waves, all the things.
Well, also it was just like when he was driving inverted, he was recording on his phone, but it was counting down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is he being timed? And then later he plays it forward. And I was like, what?
Right. So it's the same kind of thing where like when he's doing it in reverse, it's already happened. He's just holding the phone up and then waiting to hit the record button when it hits 0. But he has to react, otherwise it couldn't have happened. So he has to do the thing, right? Like he would have to hit the button at 0.
That's amazing.
But he also has to know that.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like
and intuit that, right?
In a sense, you've already done it, but you have to have done it to have already done it.
Right.
Let me ask you this, and I'll start with the phone, and I want to see if this is how you see it, and then I'll talk about Neil a little bit. I know we're going all over the place, but this is the meat and cheese of this movie, you know. The phone, to my understanding, is that because I thought, oh, okay, so is that phone he's going to take it with him to the future? Is that?
But he's not time traveling.
But it's not that, yeah. But it's not. It's just that he's told a place and can go there essentially.
Hold on. What do you mean?
In the sense of like, this is where it becomes a paradox, I guess. Where it's
I don't think it does.
Hold on, but it's not. But it's like when Neil says, "What's happened's happened."
Yeah.
So it's like when Kat at the end sees it's Priya's car, right? Mm-hmm. And she gets
Priya's car was a Prius.
I don't think it's a Prius. Should be missed opportunity.
Priya's. Oh, you said Priya's car.
Priya's car.
Okay.
Priya's car. Prius is Prius. Prius. No, it's
cool.
Priya's car.
Yeah. The car belonging to Priya.
Yes. She calls and says, so and so rode this date, this time, and then moves on with her life. So in that reality, that timeline, right?
It's all the same timeline.
No, I know, but there's one mention to like alternate universes that Neil says. It's like one line.
Well, he's just talking about like potentialities, right?
I know, but I'm saying is because she has that phone, he then can invert himself from wherever he is in time, and live that backwards
to maybe 6 hours before that event, so that he can fly out there, and check it out,
and then stop I guess Priya from killing her. So I'm saying in a theoretical timeline where. This is where it starts to hurt
It's
my
all
head.
the same timeline.
No, I know that. I'm saying theoretically. You're saying potential outcomes. If he doesn't do that and Priya kills Kat.
Then Kat's dead.
But does that break everything? Because
what would it break? Sorry, I don't mean to be like dismissive.
No,
What would it break?
I actually see your point because
Kat would just be dead.
Because
no more calls would be coming through.
Him giving her the phone isn't saying like, okay, this will save you forever.
Right.
It's saying I still have to do it.
Yeah. Free will.
Okay.
Wow. Which brings me
But what I'm saying, sorry.
It brings me to a question though. I'm gonna shelf my question because it's a really thought provoking question for me. And then
I have one last little bit.
Go for it.
The last scene. That in the timeline, that happens after.
It's all the same timeline.
I know that. What I'm saying, in this one timeline, when she calls and Priya's going to tie up the loose end, whatever, that's the last thing that happened in the movie.
Yes.
Like chronologically still.
Well, how are we talking about chronologically?
I'm saying like.
That could have been.
Sater's dead already.
That could have been like when he first sees her and he's like trying to case her out.
That's what I thought.
It could be. That could be Kat with her son, and the first, like, earlier protagonist is like watching her just to see what's going on. She's kind of looking around.
Yeah.
Priya could be in a car
Off screen.
getting shot in the back of the head by later protagonist in that scene.
Well,
so when we say chronologically, I don't know if that's the last thing that happened
that's
chronologically.
The thing, is that I don't think it can be that, because doesn't he go see Priya later from that moment?
Well, he does, but Priya could have
inverted something.
Sure.
Okay. See, that's where things start to get crazy.
Right. Because Priya...
She wanted the algorithm.
Priya seems knowing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, she probably plays dumb. I'm not saying that she is playing dumb and that she is, like, not from the past, that she hasn't experienced these things already.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it's a possibility that the Priya that they see and that the cat that they see and, like, everybody has been through this before.
Mm-hmm.
Not literally, like, it's not, you can't meet yourself, right? But, like, they know what's going on.
I got you.
Right.
All right. What's your question?
Right at the end, or not right at the end, but at the Stalsk 12th, when Neil knows that he's going to go down there and unlock the door and get shot in the head, he knows that's going to happen. It's happened, right? Couldn't you, knowing that you're going to go down there and do that, like, live like a 25-year life?
Yes, and that was going to be what I was going to say next. Go on. Continue.
And maybe not 25 years, but maybe like 10 years, and just, like, go on vacation and, like, pop out some babies, and then you know, like, shit, I need to go do this thing.
Yes.
And then you go back, which I guess you'd have to be backwards for 5 years, and then do it.
I was going to ask you about, when does Neil die?
Well, at the end of his life.
I understand, but I'm saying, like, if it's already happened, right? So actually, hold on a second.
It couldn't have already happened. Like, it couldn't. He has to have done all the things that he's ever going to do, and then do that last. When he dies, he's
dead.
He's dead.
But what I'm saying is, let's get super meta, and if I'm wrong, tell me. When we meet Neil, it's after Priya. It's after he visits Michael Caine.
It's before Priya. He helps him get to Priya.
It is. You're right, but it's after Michael Caine.
Is it?
I think so, because isn't he the one that sends him over there?
No. He goes and sees the girl with the bullets. He says, give me an analysis of the materials in these bullets. He goes to Mumbai. They go up and see Priya.
Okay.
Priya says, "This is, you need to blah blah blah." This guy.
Caine tells him about the free ports.
Correct.
Okay.
No.
I think so.
No. Kat tells him about the free ports.
What does Michael Caine do? Doesn't matter.
Caine gives him the painting to get an introduction with Kat.
Okay. My question still works, because the 14th is the
day.
Is the opera day. And
no, I thought the 14th was the day that there was an explosion in Stalsk.
I think it's the same as opera day, because remember, Kat says when they're on vacation with Seder, he vanishes, and they're like, hold on a second, what's going on?
The 14th is the opera day. I'm not sure if it's the same day as the opera. Yeah, it is. It is the same day. It's interesting that it would be the same day, because you can do it whenever. You know, you can have the explosion be whenever.
Yeah. Well, there actually is logic, because...
I'm not saying it's not logical. I'm just saying it's not, like, consequential, right?
She was saying that when they're on vacation, he disappears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he goes to Kiev or whatever on the 14th. Anyway, think about it like this. This is what's crazy to me. When we meet Neil in this one timeline, the 14th is already in the past. Two protagonists.
No, when we meet... Well, yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
We meet Neil on the 14th.
God.
We just don't know we don't know who he is.
When the protagonist meets Neil, it's introduced to Neil for the first time. To him, as far as, like, this is Neil.
Yeah.
The 14th is already in the past.
Yeah.
So he's already died. But in order for him to die on that day, he has to live his life. Mm-hmm. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that, like, really trips me out, is where, like, to your question, yes. Theoretically, I feel like he's like, okay, I know I have to go back down there and die.
He might not have known until that day when they were doing the thing.
Yeah, maybe not. But he does say, like, I think this is the end of a beautiful friendship for me. So he knows, he has an idea of like what's going to happen.
Well, when he says that, he's literally walking to go die.
Yes. But I'm saying is like, theoretically, yeah, could he like just go off and live his life for however long he wants?
Well, not forever long. There would have to be a limit, right?
But then he
because old Neil might not be able to pick the lock.
True, but he has to come back,
right?
And that theoretically would still work, right?
Well, they do have a comment about like, well, what if I just decide not to do the thing? And Neil's like, well, we don't know. That's what they're talking about
on the boat going back.
I think so. That's part of what they're talking about because they also talk about
the grandfather paradox, that kind of stuff.
Is that when he finds out? Because until then, he still thought it was just nuclear material, right? So they steal the thing from. They have like the 4 large vehicles boxing in the truck. Yeah. They steal the thing, and he's like, "This isn't plutonium-241."
Yeah.
So then they go through the machine, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And the other guy, Ives is like, you need to know, bitch. But I think when they're on the crate or in the crate, like going back to the 10 days, they need to go back 10 days. I think at that point it's explained to him like what the end game is for Seder, which is to reverse temporality and entropy, which would annihilate everything. That's the only thing that doesn't really makes sense to me because wouldn't time need to be reversed in that way at the point in which the future people need it? Because if you reverse... Okay, so hear me out. Hear me out. Follow me here. This is like the one hole that I think, unless you can talk me out of this hole.
Okay.
So let's say it's 2022.
Okay.
And these people from like hundreds of years in the future are saying our planet is dying and we need to reverse entropy. Otherwise, entropy. Entropy is chaos, and that's the arrow of time. It's like the same thing. Temporality, entropy.
Yep.
We need to reverse entropy so that we can live the other way, to not die.
To basically live on a planet that's getting healthier.
Sure. If they sent this message back and they say, we built this thing, but the scientists like hid it in a bunch of different places, right? Blah, 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 blah. We need you to find them. I would think the end goal for Seder, if he wanted to, for whatever reason, do the thing that he's doing and help them, would be to get all the pieces together and bury them so that they find them. And then at that point in time, they reverse entropy so that the world just starts moving backwards. But what the movie does, and what doesn't make sense to me, is that in 2022, which is hundreds of years before the future people need time to be reversed, he's trying to reverse time. So if he reversed time and entropy at that point in time, how would it affect the future people? Because technically it didn't change until 2022, not 2476 or whatever. Does that make any sense to you at all?
Yeah, I think so.
And also, why would it annihilate everything?
I think
so. Like when you reverse entropy, how if it doesn't start from that moment in time, which you would think would create like another timeline, you would have future people moving forward, and then people in Neil and Protagonist timeline, all of a sudden they're moving backward. But what Christopher Nolan tells us is that if we do that, we are all going to be annihilated. And the future people who are hundreds of years further than this point in time when we're reversing entropy are going to be living in paradise. Like that isn't...
Well, so there's some questions that I think Protagonist raises where he's like, I think he even says like they think we can destroy ourselves and they'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And like Neil's like...
Well, that's the grandfather paradox. That's another issue that we do need to...
Which the movie even talks about.
Sure.
Saying like, we don't know. There's not an answer because it's a paradox.
It just doesn't make sense. Like when Neil says that if we reverse entropy, every structure, every person, all the animals are going to be annihilated in an instant. So what are the future people coming to? Like what a hellscape?
Yeah, that's maybe.
What
because
happens to everything?
at the end when Sator's kind of talking, he's giving his like evil plan speech. He's kind of implying that he's starting over, that the plan is starting over. But I took it as more of a. There's still questions as to like why would that happen? Why would they all get destroyed?
Sure.
Just like she says, if you touch your former self, you'll get annihilated. And it's like,
Yeah.
she's like, the particles, if they mix, they blah. I was like, okay. But also, when he stabbed himself, he could have gotten blood on his hand when he had been annihilated. But I was going to say, to me, it was more of like Sator's dying anyway. So like Kat says, if he can't have it, no one can. And he
Right.
just wants to destroy everything. Which seems a little cliche, but whatever.
I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take you to the gun range where they're shooting the inverted bullets.
Yep.
And then I'm going to take you to the end of the movie when they're like in the battle at Stalsk 12. So in the gun range, he's shooting the inverted bullets, and there's like holes and chunks out of the stone slab. And when he shoots the bullets, it comes back, and the bullet comes back into his gun, right? So, like, it's interacting with the world, but I feel like the physics of the world itself are still moving forward because
Yes.
the stone slab has not been inverted, just the bullet has been inverted.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So why is it then in Stalsk 12, there's two people with RPGs, one is moving forward and one is moving backwards, and we see two explode. It's super cool. It's a super cool shot. Right, but it's not poo-poo, it's like suck poo.
Yeah.
Because one of the explosions...
Oh, I didn't mark that, put that on the internet.
One of the explosions is happening in reverse, and the other one is happening forward.
Yeah.
But you would think, unless half that building had been inverted, it would have reacted to the physics moving forward in both instances. Does that make any sense to you at all?
Yeah, and that's where my only issues with the movie, and it's not even really issues, it's just like, what? It's just like those things of just like, okay, like, how? What?
I'm just thinking, now we have to say,
Suck poo.
right, this movie sucks poo.
Sucks poo. Because it's like there's somebody who gets blown up in reverse,
Yeah.
right? Where like Neil sees the rubble start to shake, and he's like, where's that go? And he's like, get out of there. And it comes back, and there's an explosion, and the wall's sealed.
My assumption...
Like, are they just stuck inside, or did they get blown up?
my assumption is that they would have just been crushed by the rock. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And was it like an entire slab, or was it like a wall to a building? They may have just been like fucking slammed to the other wall by that wall.
Yeah, I couldn't tell
killed.
if it was like just full on like solid concrete, or like, if it was a wall, did they just get stuck somewhere?
Yeah.
But there's also an explosion that they have to go through. But to them it'd be cold because they're inverted.
The blue armband people would be cold, and the red armband people would be hot. But I still think an explosion is like
The force.
particles moving so fast that I still think that they would be like ripped apart in a certain way. They just
crazy.
It would be like a cold ripping
also,
apart versus like a hot ripping apart.
I think to your point, why is that rubble moving backwards?
Right.
Is it like if it gets? It's not like if you touch an inverted object, you're inverted, right? Is it because it maybe transfers energy, transfers? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool as hell, but like, I don't know. That's tough.
Huh.
No. Wait, there's logic. There's logic. Because, and you said it yourself, that person who has the RPG, who's inverted, they blew up a building.
Right.
That happened.
Well, the bottom half of the building.
Yes, but that happened.
Yeah.
So, in order for it to have already happened, they have to do it.
Sure.
So, I'm trying to think of it like going forward. If I shoot a piece of glass, the glass is going to break.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do that inverted, even though the glass might not be inverted, it's going to break when it gets shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it still has to react like it's going forward. but you perceive it in
But
reverse.
that's the thing. It makes sense until we get to that scene because one of the explosions, it's not a poo-poo. It's a suck poo.
Like
So one of the explosions is happening in reverse, whereas the other one is happening forward. So I'm on board with you until we get to the point where all the physics aren't reacting as if it's moving forward. Some of the physics are reacting as if it's moving backwards.
I don't know.
And I'm sure it makes sense, and our brains just can't comprehend it.
Yeah. Or maybe they just wanted a cool shot. It was a pretty cool
A
shot.
suck poo shot.
Suck poo shot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're already at an hour. We can go on and on about this. I do want to talk briefly just about. There's so many theories. It's like there's a theory that Neil is actually Max. His name is Maximilian, and he goes by Neil when he gets older.
Who's Max?
Max is Kat's son. There's a theory that Max grows up to be Neil.
Oh, okay.
There's a theory that Ives is actually Michael Caine.
Well, hold up.
Old.
Maximilian?
Maximilian. I saw a theory about that.
So why would he go by Neil?
I don't know. Maybe just like an incognito. I don't think he is.
Okay.
It would have been nuts though if they showed like Max with his backpack and he had like that little trinket on there.
What if he does? We need to look.
But there's theories that like Michael Caine is just Ives, old.
Okay, interesting.
You know?
They didn't have the same accent.
No, I know. But
I
it's
guess
just
your accent can change.
it's just nuts. But I really love like, to me the movies that, the time travel movies of it always happened.
Mm-hmm.
I love them because they make your head hurt in the most interesting
Wait, did you
way.
say time travel?
It's not time
It's
travel.
all one time. It's all one timeline.
Oh my god, I know exactly. But it's always happened timeline,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like if when I'm 55, they have time machines and I time travel back to when I'm 17.
Yeah.
I've technically already done it.
But if you were
You know what I'm saying?
55 and you wanted to use one of the rotator things,
I would still be that age.
you would be like 92 when
I
you
got
got
back.
to yeah. Then you wouldn't be able to take advantage.
So the folks from the future have to send messages through objects because people can't make it
Right.
because they'll die of old age.
Unless they have babies in reverse. Like reverse sex. And then like entire reverse like and they just tell the reverse babies, I'm gonna die soon, but you need to get this message on. And also have more reverse babies and never take this mask off. But then we get into like maybe what we think is just like these like doomsday preppers that are like, I can never go outside and take my mask off. What if they're reverse people?
They're inverted people,
Or if they're inverted
and their
humans?
entire existence has been in reverse.
Mhm.
Oh my god, man, what a movie! So let me ask you this: what's been the last? What? Go ahead.
What do you think would happen if a inverted person tried to have sex with a normal
Oh,
person?
stop!
Just be like, I feel something inside me. Oh God! Just got pulled right out of there.
Dude, I have like 4 things in news. Sorry, that's random. I've been so out of it when it comes to news. We're already over an hour, so I want to ask you. I want to do 2 things real quick. I'm going to ask you the question. But is Tenet good?
Yeah, it is. No, it is. Sorry, I have more questions I want to ask, but we can not ask
No.
them.
Ask me a couple. I'll try to be quick.
Okay, so if Priya is a part of Tenet and is a good person, which at a certain point we think that Priya is like an established member of the Tenet thing, that she's a good person, why is she making bullets and giving them to...
I viewed her as a gray character,
Okay,
as like a not the greatest, but not trying to end humanity.
okay, just...
Because
she admits that not only is she making them, she's giving them to him.
yeah, and she also said,
But if she knows what he's doing and what he's going to use those bullets for, and what is happening to those bullets, why would she
she
continue
also
making them?
seemed resigned to the fact that he was going to get the algorithm together.
Well, she made it sound like we
She-
want him to get the algorithm.
Yeah,
to
so
get
I think she's not exactly good. She's not horrible, but she's not. I don't think she's that good.
Well, why would she want the algorithm together if she's not
I don't know.
an antagonist? There's only protagonist and antagonist, and there's nothing in between.
She'd be an antagonist. Next question.
I'm still chewing on that piece of steak. To do a temporal pincer movement, or operation, or I guess it is called a pincer movement in the movie.
Yep.
Wouldn't you need? You would need a certain amount of space on either side of the target event.
Oh, good question.
But wouldn't you need to go like backwards, learn things, go forwards again, and then give the debriefing and then go backwards? Like, wouldn't you need to do multiple rounds to be able to like effectively get the... Also, how...
Oh, wait a second.
were they communicating with one another so effective? Like, there was something that was just like taking the sound waves and reversing them to make it sound like it was moving forward.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
There's something, because there's parts where like he hears it forward, but then hears him say it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But I think... Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's people moving backwards. I guess people moving backwards go through this event and something happens to them. And then before the event happens, if we're moving forwards in time, they backwards say, this is what's going to happen, this is where we're going to be, and this is where the explosions are going to be, blah, 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 blah. And then what happens to... Like, there's entire... like squadrons of people that there's 2 of them now.
Yeah.
For at least a little overlap, right?
Yes. Well, maybe not. I mean, if you're doing a pincer move, then yes. But it seemed like they had like 2 different teams, like at the end. But I think you're right, because I think Ives explains it where they're doing the debrief. He said the blue team will have this debrief in exactly 1 hour from now.
Yeah.
And they will have already experienced the battle. So it's like, I guess I view it like a train where if like they're heading towards the Battle of Stolz 12, right?
Right.
Blue team gets off here. They go through it backwards while the other team is still going to before the battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they get off, they go through the battle backwards, and then they stop there where the red team starts going forward.
They don't stop.
Well, no, but like that's how it kind of looks at them. So like when they're ending, red team's beginning, right?
Right, yeah.
Because I was trying to think of how can they already have done the battle, but it's because they just kept going through. They kept going backwards, but went to the battlefield. I guess and kind of experienced it. That's tough. I don't know.
Why couldn't they see each other?
What do you mean?
Like they had the blue guys in the shipping containers.
Oh, there's something where I think someone says like you might not like what happens.
But a lot of them get out.
No, I know, but I guess they didn't know. I guess are they implying that like hey,
so.
they could all be dead and you just want to know like what
I guess so.
What's coming. But anyway,
because allegedly it's 2 separate teams. It's not like, man, that'd be a rough day at work if you had to go through as red team and then they were like, you're blue team now, go again.
Well, because Neil even says like, because he does it multiple times.
Yeah,
because we see him get back from the mission, like survive it, and then he goes back or whatever. And he even says again, he says, "I'll get him on the next
run or next pass or whatever."
So it does imply that even though that version of him is going to die, like he can do it again.
There's only one version of him.
Oh my God, I know. I'm saying like
technically
he's going to die, but he could just do it again and again and again and again and again. That's crazy. So you theoretically could do something like if I wanted to go back 5 minutes and come open up this door, I would see myself come open up this door. But if I wanted to do that 100 times, I'd see 100 of me just show up at the same time and come open up this door, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, moving forward in time, it's all instant. Even though, oh, wow. But in order for that to happen, I'd have to do it 100 times. Right?
Mm-hmm. Couldn't we just invert, like, pollution?
I don't know.
Just, like, take all the smoke.
You can invert machines.
Just collect, like, you get the smokestacks in China and, like, the U.S. and, like, all the big countries that are contributing to pollution. And just, like, gather that smoke into rooms, invert it. Wouldn't it just go back into the...
So if you inverted, like, a car...
Yeah.
My
assumption is that...
Would that car get, like, taken apart eventually? Into pieces?
Yeah.
What?
It would have to be. And then it would disappear into the... Well, hold on. No.
Okay.
Hunter.
No.
If it's inverted, it's still moving forward from its own perspective.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yes.
That's how the bullets.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. Because you're firing a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
When you're inverted, you're still firing the bullet.
And the algorithm things were made in the future. So if your logic was used, the algorithm things would not exist in today's day.
They are not okay. They are not physically moving, like decaying, moving backwards in time.
Well, they would be decaying if they weren't preserved well, because they would be moving forwards in time, and decay is a product of.
Yes, what I'm saying is it's not contained within the machine. Like if I inverted this MacBook,
okay,
the MacBook itself wouldn't be taken apart because it's going backwards. Because from the
MacBook's perspective, it's going forward. Yes, so the lithium-ion battery in it would be useless when someone finds it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yes, make my point. Yes, but to me, I would find this MacBook sitting here in 100 years in the past.
Sure,
but it would still.
Well, no, because you wouldn't be there 100 years in the past.
I'm saying this would still be sitting here.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it wouldn't work, but I'm saying it's not like it like. What I'm saying is it's not like you can invert a machine and you see that the machine get taken apart like it's being built. Mm-hmm. That's not what happens.
Right.
Whew, man. It's a good movie.
It is.
I was gonna ask you your Christopher Nolan ranking, but we can just do the 4 films that we've done.
Do we? Okay.
Or if we don't have time, we don't have time. It's all right.
Well, no. I would love to do that. I want to, because I would like to rank like Dunkirk, but I haven't seen all of his films. So where do we draw the line? Right?
Yeah, we can just do the 4 because I haven't seen the following.
Okay. So of the 4, it's really hard because to me, Interstellar, Memento, and Tenet are like really close.
Yeah.
And then the Prestige is down there. So Prestige is in 4th place for me. And then the other 3, I think I would put. God, that's tough.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Would you rank your children if you had multiple?
No.
Well,
I'll take a stab at it though. The Prestige is still 4th for me, but I think
hold on, your arm's bleeding. Okay, the stab is coming. Okay, cool.
Okay. Well done. This is not the Prestige. I like it more than you, I think, but I would say, oh God,
Prestige is in 4th.
I would say Interstellar, Tenet, Memento, Prestige.
In descending order. So Interstellar is your favorite
first, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. That'd be different if I included the Dark Knight series and Inception and stuff and Dunkirk, but that's mine.
I'm gonna go in 4th place, Prestige. In 3rd place, Memento. In 2nd place, Tenet.
Okay,
and in 1st place, Interstellar. Yeah.
Shall we do Every Movie Sucks real quick?
Yeah.
This says, the guy says, this is Cam with 17 M's, half star. What the fuck is happening with prayer hands? I feel like we're going to get a lot of that in this.
Mm-hmm. Can you sing a song for me while it loads?
Every movie sucks almost as much as the Wi-Fi here. I had to upload this earlier, but I tell you what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna do another review, because that would be doing 2 in a row, and I don't do that anymore.
I'm so glad that I made that a thing. It's just 2 days. I was like, you keep doing 2 in a row. Because you're like, oh, we'll go back and forth. And then you do 7.
Ever since then, I haven't done it.
Light. Patty with a fatty says, shit is ass. Frankie and Mark kept talking during the movie. This is what you were talking about, watching a movie and Frankie and Mike are just talking. Everyone knows a Frankie and Mike, and they always talk during the movie. Or Mark.
This is Antonio Mendina, half star. Making the choice to not give your protagonist a name because he's so bland and lacking in personality is a genius move to showcase how impersonal your writing is. Also, some great writings. Everyone, everything that's ever lived will die instantly, including my son. Yeah, no shit. Took me a second to like get that. That's hilarious.
Including my son. Who says that? Cat? Does Cat say that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You can do one more because we're going way over, but that one gave me a good chuckle.
Jem says I haven't. Okay. The conversation after watching this movie was so uncomfortable. Everyone pretending to get it, no one wanting to say it was shit. Long silences as we tried to piece together the unsolvable jigsaw of Tenet.
Sounds like you just didn't get it, bro.
Bro.
Give me a quick little theme song. I have a tiny bit of news.
It's time for a tiny bit of news. Not much.
Yep. Jon Snow is getting a Max spinoff show. Because
Why?
I don't know. I haven't even seen Game of Thrones.
Well, he's a big part of it. When he is Jon Snow, like is pretty much his entire life.
But
is
he
like,
also dies, right? And he comes back to life.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So is it after the end
I
of?
don't know, but it's called Snow. Sony. I only have 4 things for legit. Sony has teased a live-action Miles Morales Spider-Man film. Sony, which means it's going to suck, as well as Spider-Woman in live action.
Okay.
Here's some Nolan news. Oppenheimer is rated R.
Yeah.
Must be for language and the incineration of a bunch of people because of the atom bomb.
I heard that. So you know that he's doing it all practical. So it's not CGI. The atomic bomb explosions. So what I heard was that every theater, the first showing, he's going to set off an atomic bomb.
Amazing.
And that's how he's going to do it.
That's great. Is that why we're going late?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
Then my last bit of news I thought was really funny is that The Rock, The Rock, has had a bit of a tumultuous year.
Uh-huh.
He had the whole feud with Vin Diesel that he would never do another Fast and Furious, never work with him again. And Hobbs and Shaw didn't do great. Then Black Adam tanked, and so he's been trying to get back on on a big franchise. Well, he's going back to the Fast and Furious franchise.
Okay.
And he's doing another spinoff that's just going to be Hobbs.
Okay.
So we're going to have a Fast and the Furious franchise film that's going to be centered around The Rock. So the hierarchy of the Fast and the Furious universe is about to change.
All right.
This is my news.
Which means it's about to die.
Yeah. News of the week. There you go.
That was very news of you.
Thank you. Time for Braves Minute.
Oh, shit. The Braves have been underachieving. They lost 2 of 3 games to the A's, which is sad.
Very sad.
And then we are playing the Diamondbacks. We had a couple days off this week, didn't we? Or no, did we just have one game off? And
Diamondbacks are good.
Huh?
Diamondbacks are good.
Diamondbacks are good. We're 1-1 against them as of right now. It's just been Acuna's been in a bit of a slump. I feel like offensively as a whole, we've been in a slump.
Yeah.
The pitching, our starting pitching has been solid, and then once we get to the bullpen, it's hit or miss.
Anybody's guess.
Get it? Hit or miss.
That's what happens in the game. Amazing.
Oh goodness.
Are you crashing?
Yeah, I'm
Me
crashing
too.
through the snow.
Me too. On a one-horse open sleigh.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that was very brave of you.
It's the bravest thing I've done all week. What if I wasn't done and you just cut me off?
Oh, keep going.
No, but I was.
Okay. I know you so well. I don't feel like having a whiskey shot.
Okay.
So to whiskey.
To whiskey.
We love you.
We could have just faked it.
Should I cut this
But
out?
we never do that. We never fake our whiskey shots.
Never. Except this time.
Yeah, this is a one-off.
Because we had a lot of whiskey the past couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So to whiskey.
To whiskey.
Jack's here somewhere.
Gulp.
Gulp. Wow, that's so strong.
That was very strong whiskey.
Very, very strong whiskey. Do you want to do where can they find us?
Hunter, where can they find us?
Oh, okay. It's automatic, but all right, cool.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to ask the question, so I'm
That's
going
fine.
to. Hunter, where can they find us?
You can find us on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram at Bud is a Good Podcast. You can email us at biigpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at biigpodcast. Like and subscribe. What's your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? Do you like Tenet? Do you get it? Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's stupid? We're doing Batman next week. The OG, not the OG, Michael Keaton Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited for The Flash? Are you excited for what should we do in August? What should we do in August?
What should we do in August?
Perfect. On that note, Hollis turns 2-year-old yesterday. Well, today.
Yesterday.
As we're recording this, but yesterday to you because of Tenet time travel.
Right. No, it's not time travel.
I'm just kidding. So I'm going to go celebrate his birthday when he wakes up.
Yay.
And Zach, you go to your pool party.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out.
Peace. Why are you piecing me?
I'm piecing the world.
Okay. But
Our
you
listeners.
actually held up a peace sign.
I don't know.
As someone could see. All right. Bye.
Bye.
But is it good podcast? Yeah.